Charith. Hope all are well and safe this Saturday afternoon. We are in Sri Lanka. I mean, in Sri Lanka, we are in sort of a lockdown scenario, but we wouldn't call it a lockdown. But it's we are all, most of us are indoors, due to travel restrictions. Um, on days such as these, at times like this, not very often, you get to talk to your mates uh, and have a chit chat. The times are hard and we don't see each other. We are confined to our homes. And on this date, I'm privileged and honored to talk to one of my good mates. And more than a mate, he was my old teammate. And we have played together, and we have had such good times. As teammates. Contrary to what people think, I would say that he's the best roommate I had. Remarkable cricketer who represented the country, and of course, he's a '96 World Cup winning team member, and he's known as Mr. Dependable in Sri Lanka cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, and let me bring in my mate Asanka Gurusinghe, all the way from Nigeria. He's based in Nigeria at the moment. He is the man, Kyoyo Asanka. How are you doing, mate?
Hey, how are you?
Well, how are you doing?
Very good, very good.
Did I get the pronunciation right? It's called Kyoyo, right? In Nigerian, say hello. Is that right?
What's that?
Kyoyo. That's what it's called. Hello or it's called Hafa. That's how it's pronounced. That's in Nigerian language. What do you call it? In Kenya we
I
call
don't
it
have a clue.
just like you are. So, mate, that's something for you to learn. It's called next time
I know.
when you meet a Nigerian, that you say Kyoyo. That's the term. And
I hope
very
it's a good word. I'll
it's a
get
good word, mate. And I
hammered by
won't
them.
I won't mislead you. And a big welcome to all those people joining in. So many people are already online. Asanka, you are a star, mate. Just
Ah,
Jennifer, Manikam, Surendra Kumar, Aiwa Adhikari. Oh, there are so many. I can't. Already 16 people. And good evening to each and every one of you. Mekala, Cheryl, Jude, Susanta, Kanchana. Yes, good to have Kanchana. All those people online, they're all ready and waiting to talk to you, Asanga. And before you came on the show, that we briefly, that I spoke to you offline, of course, and we decided that we are not going to talk about your cricketing, what do you call, that whatever that you did in the past. I'm sure that you would have done million interviews since 1996, and you have spoken in various other forms that what you did, and your contribution to Sri Lanka, and how we became champs and all that. I think it's all in the past. And what people would like to know, there are so many questions that have come up, Asanga. Before we go into the question and answer segment, that I would like to give you a chance and ask you, soon after 1996, Asa, that you were, and you did not continue that long, unlike the others. And soon after that, you decided to say bye to Sri Lankan shows, and you took a major call, being a World Cup champion, to leave us, go to Australia. And what I want to ask you, Asanga, that we all know, that how hard it was, like during that time to play for Sri Lanka. We didn't have too many opportunities, and only a very few could play for the country, and we just played only limited number of games, and most of the games are overseas. What actually prompted you soon after the World Cup to take that big decision, go to Australia, and how did all that happen? And I want you to talk about how hard it is as a professional cricketer, your post cricketing career is. Asanka, over to you, mate.
yeah. Look, I think the first thing is when I first came to Australia, I had a 3-year contract to play for North Melbourne Cricket Club. I didn't retire or I didn't leave cricket to go to Australia. So that was the main thing. I had an agreement and I got the release from Sri Lanka cricket as well to go back, not go back, to go and play district cricket, which is the next level below state in Australia. And it was an experience. I played a season in late 80s, so this was a good opportunity for me to go back and play some cricket there, and I was still wanted to play for Sri Lanka, and was there was no decision at that time. So everything started pretty much, I think, after the World Cup. So many problems, most probably. Money was slowly coming in as well to Sri Lanka cricket, but I think I don't think I have ever spoken about these things, but it was I won't say a misunderstanding, but certain communication issues we had with Sri Lanka cricket and myself in early 1997, because there was a tour to New Zealand, and that's where things got really bad. They made it very difficult for me to be part of Sri Lanka cricket. I won't go into details, Charith, because it's all in the past, and to go into so much detail, I don't want to. But that really turned everything around, and as you know, that time after we won the World Cup, they ousted Ana Puncheva as well as president of Sri Lanka cricket, and to me, that's where the problem started, with so many people coming in, knowing that there will be money in there. And so, yeah, so that's the time that they made it so difficult for me. At that time, the North Melbourne Cricket Club knew that I was really struggling to decide what's happening. And they were very helpful, came and said, if you want to stay here, we'll help. So that's where the decision was made at that time to announce my retirement from international cricket and walk away. I think you said right at the start, it was a big decision, really big decision, because as you know, those days Sri Lanka cricket didn't have. I mean, players, you played with me, Chari. We didn't have money. The way contracts were. I mean, the contracts only offered. The first contract was in March 1997 or February 1997. They offered me the contract as well. I was in Australia. They offered me a contract, and that time it was pretty good. In 1997, they offered me $35,000 for a year. So you can just imagine, before the World Cup, we didn't have a cent pretty much. And then pretty much 12 months after the World Cup, they had money to offer $35,000 contracts. And I actually walked away from that as well. So I don't know whether I was stupid or. But yeah, and after that, I played 6 seasons of district cricket. But I'll be honest, Charit, a lot of people don't realize it was most probably the toughest 6 years in my life. Um, and post cricket, if you say, or um,
Post
you
international
look at,
career.
and yeah, my whole career, and to then say, okay, I'm going to settle down in another country, uh, and you, I became like, I mean, I was a somebody in Sri Lanka before I left. I was a World Cup champion, and you know, you can walk down the streets, you can get anything done. All those things are there, and from being a somebody overnight, you became a nobody.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
because Australia, yeah, they recognize you as a World Cup winner, but then you're just another person again. And I realized that very, very quickly how much it hit me. So it didn't. It was as I said, it was one of the toughest 6 years, the first 6 years in my life. Uh, and to bring up the two children, wife Kushi, and settle down there. And I had to pretty much, even though I was playing cricket, I had to do a job. And I realized at that time as well that I actually had to go back to the bottom, pretty much start in my in my whole career again, and start from the bottom level in a corporate world, and come up. So that helped me. I really focused on it. That's the time I decided, after about 4 years of, yeah, or 5 years, I decided I don't want to play district cricket either, because I need to focus on my career, and I have children and I have a family. So focused on my corporate life, and I'll be honest, I don't have any regrets now. Where I am now, not just as a cricket coach, but as a person. I mean, in the corporate world as well, I achieved a lot in a short period as well in Australia. Um, I became a sales director in a global company, which to me was a big achievement. I did studies as well, because I realized I have to do something to go up in life, especially in this country. And yeah, it helped me, and I made a lot of friends, and I learned a lot about business world that made me most probably a complete person as a cricketer. And yeah, I knew everything, but I think that uh, life changed me a lot. But yeah, I mean, the first 6 years most probably was the toughest. And I think a lot of cricketers who have retired, even now, I'll be honest, even with all these big contracts that players are getting, and they deserve it. Please, they sacrifice a hell of a lot, the current players. They deserve it. But it's not easy, Charit, because you're used to a certain lifestyle, you're used to a certain income, and then suddenly you're starting from somewhere. And I think all of us, when we left the game at that time, I think everyone went through tough periods. I know a couple of my very close friends in the team who played with me even in the '96 World Cup and who has retired, and their first 3 4 years most probably was the toughest, because you realize that you're pretty much on your own. And yeah, you have your close friends and your family, but it's a lot of hard work then. And but I mean, right now, well, Kushi and I we are very happy with what we have achieved. I mean, 25 years in Australia as well, so it's a long, long time, and we are enjoying it. I mean, pretty much, we want to retire soon if we can, and that's the most probably the message. I mean, the story.
Brilliant. Guru, and as you rightly said that I didn't expect anything else from you. You said something very interesting, mate. You finally, after retiring from cricket, you decided to study. That's very interesting, mate.
I did, because I realized in Australia, I'm pretty close to Ravi Ratnayaka, who lives in Melbourne as well, and we are very, very close. And Ravi did the same thing when Ravi
Right.
quit the game. He went there, he did studies, and he and I, he's the one who actually pushed me a lot as well and said, Gura, you got to do this because it's difficult in this country. And I know, yeah. So I had to do certain things, and I kept doing, but I kept doing my coaching courses as well. So which really helped because I got the highest qualification in Australian coaching, which is recognized around the world. I'm still doing some studies, Charith. You won't believe it. I'm
Good
doing
for
a
you,
few
mate.
online courses and stuff because I just want to keep going and keep my mind active a bit. But it's more on the cricket side as well, in cricket management and stuff that I'm focusing on. And yeah, so that's something I would always advise any young cricket. I mean, to do this, to have something else and do some studies. These days, it's much easier to do it. You don't have to go into a university or a classroom. You can do so much from home and online. So that's the that's the advice I will give any cricketer these days, any sportsman.
Excellent, Guru. Excellent advice. I think it's not only cricket. I think for anybody these days, I mean, at the rate, the way the people are losing their jobs, losing their income, idea is to look for new ways and means to keep yourself going. And with the available technology, I think it's very easy to pursue whatever the interest that you had that perhaps that you didn't have time to pursue your goals, your interest. Perhaps it's the right time to make the most of it because you are in a lockdown kind of scenario. Gura, words of wisdom, and you personally think that you've been involved with Sri Lanka cricket in the recent past, and you spoke very briefly about the contracts. You believe that a cricketer perhaps has played say 4 5 years national cricket. When they retire, do they have enough to retire and to have a like a comfortable post career kind of a life? Is that possible?
Well, it is, but that is started. I don't know whether you knew. Like when I was working with Sri Lanka Cricket, this is something I proposed to Sri Lanka Cricket executive management team about starting a training program about life after cricket for the current
Right.
players because
Right.
train them on investments, train them on all those things. Because yes, they are getting money, but you end of the day, Charik, you got to look at where they should invest. And some are smart. We know some cricketers I know very well there who are very smart, who have invested. But Charit, it's only a handful of them who can do that.
Right.
And most of them will struggle and get through and might not have a cent after a while if you don't manage it well. So I was really pushing for that. Even got some people who are interested in helping us. But I don't think, I mean, when I was there, Sri Lanka cricket never went ahead with it. And it's sad because to me, that to me, that is a very important thing, not for men only, even for females, because you got to identify and work with them, whether it's coaching. If it's coaching, get them into coaching qualifications while playing, because senior players can do level 2 and level 3, and when they're retiring, so you're trying to get them into the coaching stream straight away, and so you're not losing good players and for Sri Lanka. But end of the day, to me, that is a very, very important part that Sri Lanka cricket seriously need to focus on. Like life after cricket, as I said, even we organize, man, I'm not boasting, but I think nobody, I've never spoken about these things. Even English classes we organize uh, for players, because it's important when they leave cricket or while playing cricket to do interviews, or going into a corporate world to get up and, I mean, these days public speaking is a big um, what do you call it? You can earn a lot of money
Big
if you
business.
in certain
Yeah,
countries
big
with public
business it is.
speaking.
It
So
is.
you got to get the players, I mean, ready for that. And number one is get their English right. Number two is get their reading. And we organized it. I mean, female cricketers I know did it for about 3 months. When I was there, they had once a week classes. Men's team was always had issues. Nobody wanted to really push through and get it done. Uh, because you can't just be in Sri Lanka and just talk Sinhalese. Absolutely, that is our mother tongue, and we are proud of it. But we all know if you want to go out to the rest of
Well,
the world, you have to speak that language as well. And to me, I mean, Sangha most probably is the best example. The way he speak, he can. I don't know, people who are watching this have a better understanding, but to be in Australia, someone like Sangha for a 1 hour speaking engagement can earn between $7,500 and $10,000. That is the money I'm talking about if you speak well. And you can pick subjects, whether it's motivational. And I do a lot when I was in Australia. I did a lot of speaking engagements with, whether it's cricket clubs or whether it's in the corporate world. You talk about motivating sales staff and things like that. But people want to listen to your stories, but then you have to be a storyteller as well. So this is what I was trying to get Sri Lanka cricket to teach. I mean, I had a few really good people in Sri Lanka who were going to come up and help them about in public speaking and English interviews. I won't mention names. There were 3 people who gave their time free of charge and said, we are happy to come and help these guys and interview them in front of cameras, but not at a game, and get them the confidence. Because, Chari, you have been a manager, I have been a manager. Players don't want to go for interviews after a game, that. And some games are such, and the TV coverage is such that they don't want us to talk in Sinhalese. So, and then you can be a translator. You and I have been translators as well, but that doesn't help the player. You got to build that brand. You got to build the profile of the player, so that when they retire, they have this great profile, and they can slowly get on. And to me, that's life after cricket. And this is where I think we have to at least start now. I'm hoping whoever wins this board election in a few days, I think they have to put some money into that, invest some money, and start this.
interesting, Gura. These are, the what you're talking about, a player's marketability. I have seen that, like the way you said, the years that I have spent with the national team, I have come across, so many players from other countries. And for an example, I don't want to mention certain names, in the Indian squad. When I see them, in front of a camera, it's amazing. I mean, these are guys probably came from even the backgrounds that no comparison to some of our boys are coming in. Very humble backgrounds, but today where they are, not only their cricket, they have absolutely, they have come, improved in leaps and bounds. They're where they are, they're so comfortable in front of a camera, a microphone. How they present themselves is very important. So it's not only cricket. I think, it's very important to all the listeners
I
out there.
think for all sports, Charit, we need for all sports. And I think you said something, and I'm going to mention a name.
Yeah,
I met this guy because I was team manager as well. I mean, Hardik Pandya
yeah.
speaks fluent English, and when I had the opportunity had to have a very long chat with him one evening, and I sat down, and it was Nick Pothos and myself had a very long chat with Hardik, and I said, "How did you improve your English?" Because he was fluent, and he said, he called me sir, and he said, "Sir, when I started playing IPL as well, I realized that to mix with international players, I need to speak their language." And he has gone for English classes on his own. He and his brother Kunal or Krunal,
Kunal,
and,
yeah.
and he said, I made that effort to learn because otherwise I won't be. I'll be just another player in the IPL. I didn't want to be there. So each individual, if you talk to these guys, there are a lot of stories, but as a cricket board, I think we have to, and our past cricketers, we have to do something.
I agree with you, Grad. Over a period of time, we have really tried to help these guys out. Sometimes we can blame Sri Lanka cricket or the management, uh, in whatever the management it's at that particular time. But the initiative has to come from the individual himself. That, as there's a saying that you can take a horse to the water, but you cannot get the horse to drink it. So the I personally believe in, if you can focus, the channel their energies learning something new, that their game too will improve, because your concentration focus is right. It's just not cricket. I think I'm talking generally in life. Just to tell you a story, mate. Now, how I started this show, it all happened over a drink. That's why I decided to call it a drink with Charith. It just happened that I was having a chat with Avishka. He was the one that who first started, sometime back, this show, and it was all in fun. And I didn't know what I was doing, but then I had to really work hard on on what I do, and to get my addiction right, get my hardware, software, and everything right. And as you go on, Gura, and more you do it, the more you learn, and it's become a fascination in life. And more you do it, the better you become. And it's just the way, just like the way you work on your game. I think you got to work on your personal skills as well. That's what you're saying. That that's why where I started with you, how hard it was for you to being a World Cup champion, give it up overnight, and to embark on a new career, which you did. You said that it's the hardest part was that 6 years that you were trying to set yourself up again as an individual. Now, having said that, Gura, tell us that this new venture that you have embarked upon, and how challenging it is for you to leave Australia, as you rightly said, after 25 years that you have been there. And Africa, it's a continent that it's very close to my heart, because I was lucky enough to spend some time in that part of the world. Tell us all about how it happened, and how challenging, and how Nigeria, it's not a cricket, is not a homegrown game. They are known for their football, perhaps, and it's an alien game in that part of the world. And the obstacles and what we have to go through to settle back in a new continent, Gura. You are starting your life all over again.
It is. I wouldn't say starting my life all over again, but it came up after I went back from Sri Lanka cricket. I wanted to take a break. I just, my wife, I mean, Kushi and I decided we need at least 3 4 months just a break, enjoy the time with our children, and just have some fun. And during that period, I got about 3 or 4 offers actually from associate countries, which Nigeria is one of them. And they were very interested in me coming and helping them. Some were as head coach, some were as high performance director. Yeah, things like that. So I looked at all these opportunities, and I wanted to look at where each country was. I did because I was not doing too much. Actually, I was doing an academy then. I started with Sali Ahangam, our good friend, and I thought, okay, I'll do some research, and I realized, okay, Nigeria ranked pretty low. Then the other 3 countries who approached me are ranked in the first top 20. So it's between most probably 12 and 20. So, but the other, this particular country, actually two countries were after 30. Uh, the ranking was after 30, and I looked at all of them, and I thought Nigeria, where they are, and how their board worked with me. And at the start, I thought, okay, this is a good decision that I need to make. But it took a long time because of COVID as well. So that helped me. So I had time to really think about which way we want to go. whether it's somewhere in Asia or whether it's in North, South America, that areas, or whether it's Africa. So there were a few things that went around, and I decided, yeah, I'm in Nigeria. And then even that, I didn't expect it to be coming that soon. And last year, around October, they called me and said, okay, we want you here in November last year. So things worked on, and our children are big. As you know, my daughter is married, and uh, she's actually, I'm I'm going to be a grandfather in a few months as well.
Oh, that's great news, Gaurav. Great news.
So
Bless you, man.
she's married. My son is, they're all big. They're adults. So for us is we don't have to worry about, okay, what's going to happen with children or schooling. So we decided, Kushana, it's a good time if we can do 3 years or so, and then most probably retire. So that's how we came here. Absolutely, what you said, it's a different place. A lot of things we take for granted in Australia and Sri Lanka, it's a luxury here if you get it. I mean, for example, and I expected that. I knew when I arrived here. Or one thing with Nigerian Cricket Federation is they never lied to me. They were an open book with me, and they gave me all the details what's happening. So it wasn't a surprise when you arrive there. Certain things are not there. For example, in Sri Lanka, you can go and buy whatever you want for cricket. There are so many cricket shops. There's nothing you can. It's pretty simple. And in Nigeria, we don't have a single cricket shop. Everything has to be ordered from outside. Then training wise, to find turf wickets, Charith, in Sri Lanka, every corner you can find turf wickets to train. We don't have a single net turf wicket here. We have center wickets. We're actually doing 4 ovals right now with new turf. So by October this year, we will have 32 turf wickets, like all center wickets for us to play in 4 grounds in 2 separate places. Plus, there's another oval. So we will already by end of this year we'll have 40 turf wickets. I mean, I'm talking 40 numbers. Where in Sri Lanka, Ketaram has got about 50 turf wickets for training. That's a stadium where you. So these are things we take for granted, and here we have to work towards that. And another one is I have to do everything on my own. There's nobody to help you. In Sri Lanka, if you're with part of the national team, you have between 10 and 12 coaches helping you at a net session, whether it's the batting coach, fielding coach. Here, you are the batting coach, you are the fielding coach, you are the fast bowling coach, you are the spin bowling coach. And to be honest, you are the trainer as well.
True.
So you have to get adjusted to that. And these guys are all over the state, all over the country. They're not in one place where like Colombo, it's much easier. They have to travel by road, sometimes 10, 11 hours to get to where I am. Or I have to fly to certain places, which is a 1-hour flight. But these are the things that people don't understand with associate countries. They don't have that.
Some of the luxuries that we have,
luxuries means most probably the sponsorships and money. Say, I think, for example, Sri Lanka cricket from ICC gets about between $13 and $15 million a year because they are a test playing nation. Sri Lanka cricket plays test one days and T20s. They are and they deserve it because their spending on development and all of that is huge. Because I was part of it, I know. But for Nigeria, if you get $700,000, that's a good year. So just work out what you do. And sponsors wise, we are not going to get sponsors. I mean, clothing sponsors or TV rights or anything. There's nothing like that. So sometimes you have to really find your personal contacts and see how you can organize it. So it's a different place. But one thing is the current Nigerian board is unbelievably proactive, guys. The president and the vice president, they are doing everything possible. They're finding sponsors. They're doing unbelievable work. So making my life easier.
Great to hear that. The certain things, one thing, the little things that I've learned during my time in Africa, the things that we take for granted, like water, drinking water. Sometimes, people don't have 70-80% of the population don't have access to water, and how some of our players, during matches and training, the amount of water that we use, that got to be stopped. That's something that, I've been telling those boys, you see, after the training session, half-drunk bottles thrown, all over the place, littered. Someone else needs to go and, pick it up. Little things, things we take for granted, you don't see in that part of the world. And, Gura, as you go along, you see,
Absolutely.
you know,
No, Charith, that is absolutely true. Because one thing is, this is something I just couldn't handle with when the Sri Lankan players throwing away half water bottles into a bin. And I'm looking at it now with first-hand experience in Africa. These guys have I have never seen these guys will ever throw a bottle of water even with
never.
a sip of water in there, because they know
It's
how
precious.
important water is. I mean, Charith, believe me, you worked in Africa, and you got to be so careful with water, because you drink the wrong water, you can get sick and die
True.
uh, with the certain things going on. So it's it's something that I have seen with these guys, and they don't have even bats or pads, or everything has to be provided by the Nigerian Cricket Board.
True.
I mean, we recently got ordered from stuff from India, and we received it about a week or 10 days ago. Bats, pads, and all brand new stuff for them. And because they don't have it, they don't have that kind of money or anything like that to go and buy something. So
True.
it's a different world.
Gura, just to say big hi to Rehana, little sister, Romesh's sister, and they're saying big hi to you. Your sister is watching you, Anjali. Good to have you on board, sis.
My sister.
Yeah, she says you batted at almost all top slots, bowl fast and spin both, and you've been a brilliant fielder. So you can do it on your own. Good luck to you anyway. But I think she missed. I think, if I'm not mistaken, somebody else said that you first played for Sri Lanka as a wicketkeeper, didn't you?
Yeah, my test debut and one day debut was as a wicketkeeper. I
Yeah,
batted
there
at
you go.
number 7 or 8 against Pakistan. It's a funny debut. First innings, I batted at number 7 or 8 on my test debut, and then the second innings, I was sent at number 4 to bat. Uh,
So you're jack of all trades, mate. Nothing that you haven't
and
done. In cricket, you have kept wickets. You have bowled. You have batted. You have done. You've done the full circle. You're amazing, man. Just
I have opened bowling. I've opened bowling for Sri Lanka. But I
good.
just want to say hi to Rehan as well. I mean, we used to see her a lot when we were in school as well. After school, she used to stand near her in front of Holy Family, and she will shout at us. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Rihanna those days. And I saw, I mean, my sister is there, and I saw Jennifer Rodrigo. Jenny is a good friend of my wife, Kushi, as well, and all of us. So hi to Jenny as well.
Gura, if you once the show is over, if you can take off a little bit of your time and say hi to all your fans. I can see 90% of the messages that are coming in, all your fans and your well-wishers. So it'll be great that if you can interact with them soon after the show, because we have a few things to talk about, and there are many questions which people have sent me before the show, which I want to talk to you about. Nothing awkward, but there's just before we get to the interesting part, mate. Recently, I was watching a clip uh, done by Kumar Dharmasena, our international umpire. It was like a hard talk. He was in conversation with a leading media personality in Sri Lanka, and one of the questions that was asked, he was asked, who was the toughest roommate that he could think of, and without batting an eyelid, the first thing he said, Gura. So that guy asked, why Gura? He said, Ugana. That's what he said, Ugana Utekka in the bag. But contrary to what people say, Guru, I must say that you're the best roomie that I had in my little short career in Sri Lanka cricket. Perhaps I would have probably ruined you getting a twin hundred in Hamilton because of my association with you. I think you and I have been both being strict disciplinarians, and asking people not to break curfew, and we are letting the cat out of the bag for the public the first time. And you were overnight not out, and you were not very pleased that I got out in about 10 minutes to go, and we were trying to save a match, and we had some of our mates from I think that time Anchor Jones overseas. They were based in Hamilton, and they popped in for a beer, and one beer, I don't know whether you remember this. One beer became 2 beers. I don't know. Eventually, we got back pretty late back into the hotel, and you and I were the last people to get into the bus. And you were facing Danny Morrison the next morning, and he greeted you with a couple of bounces. How funny was that? and then you ended up getting 100. Do you remember that, Ryan Hamilton?
I do, I do. I mean, those those were good days. We knew what's happening, but I think one of the things that New Zealand tour Charith will remember is those New Zealand players used to mix it us a lot, with
True.
us a lot. Uh, I mean, it wasn't like we were separated. Most of the New Zealand players will come and spend time with us, and was really good. And you mentioned Anchor because you were part of Maharajas.
Maharaja.
That's why
Yeah.
those guys were at that time. I think they came in, but yeah, those were great time. But I think with Kumar stuff, I think I'll clarify a little bit about it. Um, with Arjuna leading and all of that, more when the new young guys come in, one of the things he did was he wanted all the senior players to room with these guys, and Arjuna was never involved in disciplining or anything. The players he gave that to us.
Yeah.
And said the senior players look after that part, and Arjuna was focusing on the game and strategies and all of that. So he knew whatever happens, Roshan, myself, Hashan, and a little bit of Ari will work it out. So, I mean, absolutely, I haven't hit him, Kumar and them, but we will discipline them
Yeah.
and say, okay, these are the things you got to follow, and do all of that. Even Sanat, all those guys, Vasi. But I can remember once in Zimbabwe, Kumar was my roommate, and I got this slowest test 100. I think it's the third slowest in the world. It's not a record I want to talk about. But after that innings, my body was so weak. I was getting fever. I had very high fever that night. And I can remember our physio was not a proper physio. He was uh, Israel, German guy, Dr. Dan Kiesel, who was not giving Panadol to get my fever down. He's like, no, it has to come naturally. And Kumar is screaming, saying, I want Panadol. I was shivering in my room. I'm shivering with high fever. And that day I saw Kumar nearly lifted Dr. Dan Kiesel and about to throw him out because he wasn't giving Panadol for me. Because that's the way the team works. So to me, all those guys to see where KD is now, I mean, pretty much in the top two world's best umpires and what he has achieved in his life. Everyone, I think to me, I'm very proud to say that I was part of that team, that players who are doing very well these days.
Excellent. Very well said, Gura. And there are too many people to say hi from Lincoln, Jayasinghe, Kenneth, Jayanta, Seram. I think, all guys, they're saying hi to you. Pradeep Pamithanagam, and Rehana and Anjali having their own private chat. They're saying hi to one another. As I said, it's nowadays, it's very rare that you kind of meet people, because we all in Sri Lanka, we are in a restricted travel restricted scenario. In other words, like we are in lockdown, and we are unable to come out till Monday morning. What's it like, in Nigeria? Is it with the COVID, you still move about, or how is it? It's the
We
pandemic
do,
has not.
we do
Yeah,
go about, but Kushi and I are very careful about where we go. We pretty much go out only if we have to. I go to work and I come back, but other than that, other things, if it's we really have to, we will go out. Uh, I think we are lucky in a way in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a tourist destination where people come here to see things. You not like Kenya. Kenya has got a lot of wildlife, so people will come in. Here, there's nothing else. People only come in for business purposes if they're
yeah.
doing business or all of that. So because of that, I think we are a little bit lucky. But there's a very big Indian community in Nigeria who are doing, I mean, some fantastic business people who have become very good friends of ours as well. So we have that communities here. Um, to be honest, Charith, these guys in Nigeria, they don't take COVID seriously. To them, it's they have because I think when you really look at Africa, they have gone through so many diseases, life-threatening diseases in the last 15, 20 years. Uh, and to them, okay, COVID is just another one of them. I mean, they have malaria, which they are more worried about than COVID.
Sure.
Uh, because they actually more people die through malaria in Nigeria than COVID. And most probably the way these guys are, for some reason, this is actually a better place right now, but you have to be careful, and that's something we are doing. Next month or so will be a big thing because there are a lot of uh, people going up and down. from Nigeria to other places or coming down from other countries. That's the worry in Nigeria. They have actually banned Indians coming down, but if you have a residency permit, you can. But as I said, everyone here are in business, so everyone will have a residency permit to
Sure,
come back
sure.
to Nigeria. So
Yeah.
other than that, it's good. It's hot, very hot every
Right.
day, and it's the rainy season is just starting. I've never been through a rainy season in Africa, but what they're saying is from about early June till about end of September, it just rains,
Right.
and
Great stuff. Is the
you don't play cricket during that time here.
true, is the power stable the where you are? Is the power all right? The
No,
internet.
that's this is another luxury. We take it in Australia. We never have these issues. And to be honest, in Australia, if you lose power, you will sue the power company.
True.
Uh, but here, you never know. The power can go every day for 4 5 hours. Pretty much every place got generators or inverters that they use, and it's normal. Nobody complains because it's a normal
It's
thing
a,
here.
it's an accepted norm. And a big hi to Harpo Gunaratna. Guru, I must say that Harpo is one of my co-sponsors of the show. And Harpo came on board a few months back, and I was planning to have an interview with Harpo to see how he's surviving during these tough times. So it's not only Harpo, everybody in the hospitality industry and in the catering business, the entertainment, they are really, really badly hit, Gura, in this part of Sri Lanka. I only hope and pray that we will come out of it, and all these people will have a life to get back into, because it's becoming very difficult economically, and so some people, it's not. I don't know. Humanly, it's possible for being human to be locked down in this manner, that social distancing. Perhaps that's the way to go, but. So I only hope and pray that the scenario would be that the pandemic will go off, and that we can get on with lives, because we need people like Harpo, and people who need to get back to work. And there are so many questions, mate. I think I can't simply I can't reply to all these, because I've got a set of questions that I need to ask you. And hi Hasita, good to have you on the show. This you touched upon on contracts, that at the start of the show. And Hasita wants to know, what do you think about current contracts being offered to players? What's your personal opinion?
Uh, Look, to me, again, myself and Graham Labroy, when Labby was chairman of selectors, we were proposing about performance-based contracts. We didn't discuss the money side at that time, but we were seriously looking at performance-based contracts because that's a better way, I think, for a country like Sri Lanka as well. Until we go to a certain stage, you still pay the players well. You're not paying them badly, but then you give them the bigger bonuses if you win games that they are looked after. Because, like, when you look at Sri Lanka cricket also gets money when they do well. So if the
Sure.
team wins, it's much easier for them to go out and negotiate with TV stations or clothing sponsors or any other sponsor. It's much easier. So when the team is not winning, it's difficult, because then the upper hand is with the supplier who's going to come and negotiate with you and pretty much to say that's the money, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
And so this is why we were really proposing. And I think, to me, what Sri Lanka Cricket has done with Arvind and them, that committee is a good way of going forward. I don't know the financial side about how they are working on it. I saw something, the players have still not signed it, and they're waiting for some clarification on the bonus system or something like that. But I hope they will finalize it, because this is, Charith, most probably it has happened your time as well. It's a very difficult, sensitive period where players are not signing it. And when you're a manager as well, you're in the middle of this whole thing, because players are not signing to go on tours. Board is pushing you as a manager and say, get it signed. And it's a very tough period, but I think you got to put it to bed soon so that everyone can focus on the game and not worrying about, hey, what's going to happen. It is a tough period as well with the pandemic going around. So I think players also need to be fair uh, and try and work things through. I don't think we can compare with others. I saw some articles or some web sites talking, not the players talking, but other people talking about this is what such and such a country is getting, but such and such a country is getting that because that country is performing. I mean, we can't compare with Australia, England, New Zealand, and India. These countries are performing. They are in better economies. The countries are in a better economic state, so they will get better money. Absolutely.
True, true.
So these are the issues. I'm hoping they will finalize it soon because that's a headache for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I think to answer the question is, I think what you're saying is the contracts are a good thing, but let's be professional about it from both sides, from the management and the players. So you have a proper discussion amongst the parties that are interested, have incentives, and be sensible about it. That cannot don't compare ourselves with like what the other countries are doing, and be grateful for what we get during these days. It's all based performance based contracts. That's the way to go. Susanta says that he got you 3 times playing under 16 cricket for Anand. I don't know whether you recall. I'm thinking, Susanta, if you play the game and you have to get out at some point. I mean, there are millions
I
out
know.
there. I'm sure there are many guys, under my friends list that who have taken us out from under 14 days to under 19 to club cricket over a period of time. That's the way it is. If you bat, you get out, unless you are Asanka Gurusinghe, who can bat and remain not out. And going to very interesting question, Gura, it's a tricky one. Kanchana Pitigala, and I saw him earlier watching the show. Kanchana perhaps he's a very interesting guy, Gurai. He's into archives. I think he collects cricket memorabilia, and what he has is amazing. And he has a fantastic collection. He had sent me a couple of clips which I will play for you. That he's asking you this question. We lost to Australians by thinnest of margins at SSC 1992. By the way, my knee was operated and I was watching that game from the sidelines, Gura. We had just come back from New Zealand. After that, we came back from New Zealand. You were there, the non-striker, and not out. There you go. You were not out. Do you think you could have approached that Aussie target differently, bit more proactive with the tail? Do you remember?
Absolutely. That is pretty much the only cricket game that I cried when the game was over. Charlie, I'm a tough guy. I don't easily get into, but because that's a game was our game, and we gave it to Australia on a platter. Just for that, the question he has asked whether we could have changed it. Absolutely, we could have changed the way we would have played. But when you're playing for a team, you follow team plans and team messages that's coming down from the changing room. So, in a simple way, I'll tell you, I just followed the messages I got from the dressing room. Simple as that.
Go. It was a bitter pill to swallow. We were in a very strong position. I think chasing 160 down, we were 80 for 2, and suddenly we were bundled out. With the victory, staring at our faces. Everyone. And first time, I think Warney ended up with a 5, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he took the last 3, but we were actually 130 for 2 when Aravinda got out.
Yeah.
And then within about 3 or 4 overs, we lost Ari, Arjuna, Mavan, and Kalu. The rest of the 4 batsmen got out within 3 overs. So, and then they brought in Warney and just wiped out the tail. So
remember that
that's
game,
that's most probably, as I said, our game, and I still don't know, to be honest,
how we lost that game.
Yeah,
big question mark.
It's a tough one.
Tough one, and you were at the non-strikers end, witnessing the drama that unfolded at the strikers end. So I will leave it at that. We won't talk about that game any further.
It is. I think if that's something, there's a lot more
to
this game than what we're talking.
Exactly, people. So we don't want to go into in-depth information about what transpired on that day. We'll leave it there. Big guy to Prabhat Nisanka, mate. Good to have you on the show. Hope Prabhat, you're doing well. And your boys in Australia.
Is he up at this time, Prabhat? It's night in Australia, middle of the night, I think.
I know he has missed his bedtime. Prabhat probably just must be having a late evening snack. And I don't know what he's up to. Usually he goes.
His wife has kicked him out and he's outside.
Most likely, mate. That could be the scenario. And I'm going to. There are a couple more questions that are coming in. It's a very interesting clip that hope I can show it. And if you can recall this incident, that's if you can see it, if people can see that.
There it is.
Yeah.
You remember that? That's your 100.
Absolutely.
Like that. Gurusinghe.
Well played, Gura.
Test century for Sri Lanka.
Your 7th Test century, Gura in Melbourne.
Second against Australia. He's second in 1995.
Yeah.
He scored 100.
That's your second 100, yeah, 99. Well played, Gura. The question is, where do you rate your 143 versus Australia as an inning?
From the Sri Lankan fans here.
Whoa. I think there are 200s out of my 7 that I will rate right at the top. The first is like my first 100 in Test cricket against Pakistan at the Colombo Oval, and I was a 19-year-old at that time, playing against Imran, Wasim Akram, Imran, Abdul Qadir, and Zaki Khan. So that's a Pakistan attack, which had Mudassar Nasser, Javed Miandad, Moshin Khan, Charith. You know the names when I talk about these guys. And so to me, as a 19-year-old playing that, and had to bat a whole day because we would have lost the game. So with Arjuna, I batted the whole day and we saved the game, and I got the unbeaten 100. So that I rate very high as well. Then when you look at against Australia at the MCG,
there it is.
To get that 100 against McGrath, McDermott, Rifle and Vaughan, with Mark Waugh bowling as well. So 2 different attacks, 2 different periods. I still rate both very high, but I think the 100 at the MCG most probably will take the cake to me. That's the toughest and the best 100 I've scored.
Brilliant. And Hatim, good to have you on the show, brother, always. Hatim says, I would like to remember Gura's first innings 130 odd in the same game against SSC, one of his best. That's the game we were talking about. And that was a remarkable inning, that the first innings. And then I think we ended up losing that game. Am I right?
Yeah, that's the game we lost.
Yeah, that's the one he's talking about. Did this happen during that game? It looks a bit funny, but it's not funny at all, Gura. And I can feel it. I can feel the pain. Gura on the mat. Oh my God, that hurts me, Gura. How hard it was? Was it McDermott? I think it looks like McDermott to me.
Yeah, McDermott. Man, I'll be honest. It was. I can't even describe the pain, but it became a joke there as well because Alex Contoris, our physio, came up and I was on the ground. And then the best thing was Warney and Ian Healy came up to me and they're like, nothing to worry, guys. He's already have 2 kids, so don't worry about it. And yeah, I'm in severe pain. Like whole stomach area, I couldn't feel anything. It's just that ridiculous pain. And but yeah, it's something most probably. I think that was a good thing as well, most probably, because sometimes when you're in your 70s, I was in my 70s there, it opened my eyes again and got my focus back. Which was but the best part was after the whole tour and after the World Cup as well and everything, Alex Contoris gave me a gift one day. A frame photo was this photo, me getting hit, and the ball was right there, and he gave me this photo as a gift. And I'm like, why do you want to remind me of this?
I know.
Yeah, it became a hilarious thing later on, but I'll be honest. It was most probably one of the painful hits.
One of the most painful memories that you have. One of those, once again, that big thank you to Kanchana Pittigala for the clips, mate. If anybody wants anything, I'm sure Kanchana can dig it out for you. Gura, if you want to, you can get in touch with. I will send you the contact after the show.
Yeah.
That I'm sure he has a whole lot of stuff on you. Probably you can keep it in your archives. That's worthwhile having it, Gura. These are priceless.
Absolutely.
Priceless clips, which he has broken them down so you can have them. Manix, I think we spoke about. We like to hear the 100 Gura scored in New Zealand after a night out with Charith. Yeah, we spoke about it little while ago. let me answer on behalf of Gura, and it's so funny that so we, in brief, in very very, I would try and put it as short as possible way. So we got late, and people, you should listen to this. I've been Gura's roommate on that tour for a long time, and Gura gets sinuses in the morning. So Gura, I don't know, you still get your sinuses. You had, I remember that you start sneezing and just
Not now, no, not anymore. Thank God.
And Gura used to get this crazy attacks in the morning. And that morning, I think Gura was nursing a severe hangover. That Gura is not a drinker. People must tell you that Gura, after I don't know, I think he has moved from beer, wine. Now I think he's on single malts at the moment. He has progressed in life, but Gura is not a avid drinker, I must say. And so we got up late. We were the last to get into the bus, and Arjuna wasn't too happy. He knew that we had a late night, and I have got out the previous night. And Gura got into the bus, and he fell asleep. And I still remember, and he was snoring loud as ever. Gura, perhaps you cannot remember. Arjuna, when I was getting down from the bus, Arjuna told me, Gura gets out early morning, you go home. Next flight, you go home, you idiot, you have ruined Sri Lanka cricket. So I was like praying, Gura, please, for God's sake, mate, save the game. And you go to bat, the first ball you get hit, the first or the second ball of Morrison, you get hit on the head. And then you had this like massive lump, near where our lion is, where the crest is. And they put the helmet back. Next one, you smashed him out of the park for a big 6 over side screen, and they couldn't stop you. You got your double 100. And I think, guys, the funniest thing is the previous night after I got my 50, the Maharaja representatives, they brought me a big bottle of champagne, which I did not open. So we kept it in the room thinking that we'll use it on a different day. I still remember when Gura came back, I gave the bottle to Gura and said, Gura, you deserve it for saving my bloody back. Otherwise I would have been on the next flight back. Yep, we went on to save the game. And that was one hell of a tour, Guru. I think that's the first time Sri Lanka on an away tour. We played 3 tests, we saved all 3, and it's a great series. Thanks to you and Nara. You remember that series?
Most probably that was a good series because New Zealand was captained by Martin Crowe and had a fantastic team.
Yeah.
And we drew the 3 tests. Ara most probably got the best double 100. I mean, I've been lucky enough to play with Aravinda for so long. He got a 260 or something in Wellington.
Yeah.
And then he failed in that test that I got twin hundreds. And I can still remember Ari telling me, I'm going to get twin hundreds as well. And then in the Auckland game, he could have got twin hundreds, but he got a bad decision at 96 in the first innings and was given out caught behind. And he got a 96 and 100 in the 3rd test. So he had a brilliant series. And the following, I think the following series we went to New Zealand. We beat them for the first time there in a test match. So that was our first overseas victory. The next series we went.
Yeah, and talking about that first test in Wellington, Gura, that was my debut. And I got off for a duck. And we got New Zealand out, very cheaply in the first innings. And, we had a big score with Ara getting a double 100. And then we were almost sure of beating New Zealand because they had 3 days to bat, I believe. And Martin Crowe ended up getting 299, and Rutherford and Jones and all those guys got big scores. So the funny part of it, I remember, and I think we fielded for 700 odd runs, and there was this aircraft flying very very low above Wellington, and I was at point, and you had extra cover. You were asking me, Ado Seranayaka, do you still want to play cricket, or you want to take the next flight back home? How is it, getting 100, getting off for a duck and fielding for 700 runs? It wasn't funny, mate. I was like, my legs were literally giving up. It was a tough series, Gura, but we came back. The first one, actually, New Zealand came back very hard on us, in the second and the third, but we still survived. Great series, that the great series, great team, good memories, and that we don't get to talk about it every day like this.
Yeah.
And did you get 100 in the big match? Ajit Tabe is asking you whether you got 100 in 85. Did you?
You're talking the Anand Nalanda?
Yes, big match. Yes.
Yeah. I got my last year. I got 100 in the big match.
Oh yeah. So Ajit Tabe was right. And Jayanath Seram says hi. Dhammika Kapuru Bandara. Too many names, mate. I can't. Faisal Midin and. Did you captain Nalanda? Asala Rajiv Karan asking, I don't think you captain Nalanda, did you?
No, my last year I captain.
Okay, there you go. And can
Yeah,
you, in which year did Asanga captain Nalanda? 85?
85.
There you go. And big hi to Julians, and who is there. He's a leading journalist that is always support the show, and good to have him on the show as well. Gura, I didn't even realize that I've been talking to
Yeah.
almost an hour. That didn't feel the time moving, and it is great talking to you. Gura, what are your future plans, mate? What are your, now that you are that perhaps you were the last team manager, then I had a brief stint after you left. And where do you think you wanted to talk about how this game could survive? Not only the game, let's say how general life will survive in this pre and post COVID scenario. What are your thoughts, mate?
Look, it's that is most probably the biggest challenge. Say for associate country, if I take it, the tournaments have been postponed. We had tournaments from April onwards, which ICC has postponed to now September, October, November period because of COVID. And that is the tough one, because if they're not 100% guaranteed about having a COVID-free tournament, they will cancel it. And I think last week they canceled all the European tournaments, which was supposed to be having in July, August period. They have cancelled all ICC qualifiers that's going through. So the tough part is how players adjust to playing in a bubble. Because I've spoken to some people who are involved in the bubble with international teams. When I say international, sorry, with test playing nations and people who are part of IPL and all of that. And it is a tough one because you cannot go out of your area pretty much. It's a room. It depending on, like IPL, you can't compare because they have so much of facilities that they work around that. But if you take even the Sri Lankan team, it's not easy because you're staying inside a room pretty much. You don't go too much anywhere, and you go from the ground, sorry, to the hotel to the ground, and that is all you do. I read something from Jason Holder once when they played in England, and he said by the time the third test was playing, West Indies were playing the third test last summer. He said that was, they just wanted to go because England, as you know, their hotels are also in the ground. So he said the only thing they see is when they open the curtains in their room is the ground, and then you go to the ground, which you'd walk down and you play, and you do that for a month and a half. You can't, because it's a human brain how personally you can do things. Whether, I think at that time families were banned in coming in, and even if you get families, it's not easy because your wife and children can't get out because they have to be in the bubble. So how do you control young children to say no, sorry, you can't play there, because they don't understand. So I think mentally players really struggle, and going forward, that's a big issue with COVID, with vaccinations as well. Hopefully things will change a little bit, but I think to me, going forward for at least 12 to 18 months, team need, most of the teams, not most, every team will need to have a sports psychologist traveling with them.
And his connection,
uh,
yeah. Welcome back,
to, to
Gura.
me to me that is most probably the most important thing right now, even more than having a strength and conditioning coach. I think you need a really good sports psychologist traveling with the team to get the players understand and talking to them, and because they are in a room, Achari, it's one of the most difficult things when you talk to people, and what they do, how they handle things, so, and sometimes they are away from their, I mean, loved ones for 2 3 months because of certain restrictions. So it's not easy. And when you come to associate countries, that's a tough one because they don't have the money to have these top level bubbles.
True.
And even with the really top class bubbles, you still have COVID seeping through. IPL is one, South Africa is another one. It is very difficult to keep this so close to inside a bubble unless you are unbelievably secured about everything. So to me, this is a big problem for Nigeria as well. I mean, we are supposed to go to South Africa in September for Africa Cup, and South Africa is pretty bad right now with COVID. So
True.
for
Yeah.
us is how are we going to handle it, and all of that. Our team will be completely vaccinated by middle of July. Every member, actually end of June, we will have about 120 players completely vaccinated with both, which is men, women's teams, and the under 19. So, but vaccination is not a cure. It's most probably reducing. So that's why I think, sorry to drag a little bit this answer, but I think post-pandemic, to me, the most important position is a sports psychologist.
Very well said. It's more than strength and conditioning and fitness and all that. How tough it is to keep players, in the right frame of mind. Being in a bubble, which is a novel scenario. Perhaps, Gura, like if this continues, maybe in 1 or 2 years, the players' minds will get accustomed to this new scenario. But right now, as you rightly said, it's not an easy thing to be confined to your room. The one thing that you see, especially if your hotel is inside the stadium, that's even become, that you have absolutely no interaction with the outside world. The things are going to get tough, but those are challenges that, I think all athletes will encounter as this goes on. And it's quicker the better that we get digested. Otherwise the whole life will come to a standstill. That's the saddest part. And Anura Samarajiva, another great supporter of my show. Fond memories of under 13 final, St. Petersburg, Isipatana in 1997. Gura captain Isipatana under 13 with Ashanti Lakaratna. I forgot. Yeah, that you were Peterson Lane, Isipatana connection. Completely forgot, mate. How can I?
It was actually under 11. It was under 11.
Right.
Yeah, Hashan and I played. Hashan was my vice captain. So Hashan and I have been friends from the age of 7, most probably. He's 1 year younger than me. So we played, school cricket right through at Isipatana till grade 5. And then I went to Nalanda, Hashan went to DS. But Peterson Lane, absolutely, that's the place we all played. I mean, you will know some fantastic rugby players coming out of Peterson Lane.
Yep.
Who played for top clubs in Sri Lanka as well. I mean, people like the Sambi Pillars, which is, Chris Jordash, who played there, and the Sukumas. Sukumas for CHNFC.
Yeah, and Ashant the Dimmer.
Cicero de Fonseca. All CHNFC guys. Cicero.
True.
All those guys are Peterson guys. So they had a really good rugby as well as cricket with Dima. Ashanta Dimel is from Peterson Lane. So I played softball cricket with Ashanta when I was a kid. They're all, and Ashanta is a very good football player.
Yeah. Dima played for all. He played wing 3/4. And I remember that, he was, he outran Rohit Pereira, our captain. It was really hilarious because Rohit has never played rugby. And he thought that he could take on Dima. Dima just dummied him. And Rohit, as usual, he was clueless. He didn't know. I think that's a game I'd rather not talk about. I think Royal ended up getting 100 points against us. Ananda College rugby those days. Good to have Marlon on the show. Great show, guys. Asanka, thanks, Marlon. Thanks for the compliments. Asanka, please talk us through that century in Sacha. I think it was against New Zealand where Roshan Mahanama captained that series. I think it was your great comeback knock. Do you remember that, Gura? I think. Was that your last series?
Absolutely, yeah. I was coming after injury. I was not in the first team they picked to go to Sharjah. Then I was selected the second time when 4 or 5 players pulled out over a fitness test result of Aravinda, because Aravinda was dropped from the team over fitness test. And Arjuna and a few other youngsters pulled out. And I was just coming out of injury, and they took me on the tour, and Roshan captain. I will not forget it. One is, that was my first one-day 100 as well. But the day before that, my house was stoned in Colombo because I came on the tour.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Kushi was at home with the children. My daughter was most probably 6 months when a huge brick came through the window and nearly missed Kushi and my daughter Onela. And that was done because I went on the tour and not pulling out like others. And we had to train, Roshan and I had to train with Special Task Force security before we went to Sharjah. We had security provided at every training session we did because people were just, and I know who threw the stone as well to my house. I got to know later on. it's a small world. But yeah, those are the sad things that happened in Sri Lanka cricket those days. So yeah.
As cricketers, we have a lot of, we got fond memories and we got bitter memories as well. What we have gone through, due to the fans, so-called fans' reaction, being emotional, and sometimes they are politically driven, sometimes they are self-motivated. You'll never know. I suppose those are things which you have to face. You are a top-class athlete, playing for the country, but. Thank God. I mean, it's not so bad at the moment, Gura. You know that you are in touch with Sri Lanka. I mean, the way sometimes our national team is performing during your time and my time, we would have a lot of casualties made. It would have been very difficult for us to walk on the streets. The way the team is performing at the moment. Don't you think so?
I don't think so. I think this particular attack was a very personal one. It was very much personal.
Okay.
They just came after me on that particular one, and my family was at the receiving end. I mean, all those things was part of the reasons. End of the day, when we decided to move as well, when we decided, okay, we are going to settle down in Australia after all those things also came into play because
Okay.
you train hard and you give everything for your country, and it wasn't proper Sri Lankan supporters, and that's a sad part who did it. There were personal things that happened. And Chari, I speak my mind. I'm not someone who will agree with everything, whether you say it or whether Roshan say it. I mean, Roshan is my best mate, and we have our disagreements as well. And I don't just agree for the sake of agreeing. And that's the same way I am now. I will not back off if it's a truth. I'll talk about it.
Yeah, if you don't want to answer this question, you can say no. That did you on your comeback, on your return to Sri Lanka cricket as a senior management level, you were director, coach, and manager. Did you enjoy that stint? It turned out to be a bit controversial with a Graham Ford leaving the country, and there's all sorts of controversies. Gura, just when you think back, you reckon that that you were used, and was it if there's any other reason? What really transpired?
Oh no. I came purely because of Aravinda's request as well.
Right.
Ara was requesting me to come down. I'll be honest, I enjoyed what was happening. Yes, which is nothing to hide. There's a lot of politics, I mean, the politics are in a lot of countries, not just Sri Lanka. It's in a lot of places when you look at it. I think Graham Ford's one was a sad part because that happened as soon as I came in. So certain people used my name saying Fordy left because of me, but Fordy and I had so many chats after that. We bumped into each other so many times, and Fordy has openly told me that he never left because of me. He left because of the position I was appointed as
Great
by the
stuff,
board.
mate. That's what I want to tell you, because you guys, in the same field, that you are bound to meet one another in some point in life. So it's better bury the hatchet and move on, and just that's what life is all about. And when you're looking back, I can see you have no regrets. You are not the kind of guy that, although people think that people may have wrong aspirations about you, but if a guy knows you personally, it's a different ball game, Gura. That's as you rightly said. You're a guy who speaks your mind mind off, just like me. I mean, nothing. You see what you get. I mean, that's simple as.
Absolutely, and I mean, in Sri Lanka, you will get calls to include certain people in whether to give jobs or things. I don't do that. I mean, that's the way I work, and it doesn't matter. So, but I don't have regrets, and I enjoyed it. Uh, the time I spent there, yes. I mean, you can always look at any job you do and say, there are areas that you didn't have fun, and that's there in everything you do in
True.
your
Yeah.
life. But to me, I learned a lot from Sri Lanka cricket as well. I got to give credit to that. Uh, I learned a hell of a lot from Sri Lanka cricket. Those the 2.5 years I worked, but it was something we decided where before they kept still. I think the biggest problem is Sri Lanka cricket or anyone there doesn't want to show the world the decision is made by the player, the person who's leaving. They always want to think, look, Sri Lanka cricket, or they have got rid of a person. When you're on a contract, you decide whether to stay or not. It's a two-way street, Charlie. It's
True.
not one way. Both parties has to decide to stay. Just because one party is not interested, then you can't. So that's the way it is. So I decided 3-4 months before that that I'm going back. So the decision was made, but it's gone. I mean, as I said, I learned a lot, and Sri Lanka cricket looked after me my 2.5 years there. I can't say anything bad about that. They looked after me well.
Well said, Ben.
And that's the important thing, Charith. We all do certain things, and I learned certain things. Charith, my battery is going low. Sorry.
No worries, mate. So before we say bye to you, that you and I have been there. We have done that. We know exactly what it is, and we spoke about it. If you go off, I'll continue to talk to a few questions that have come up. That's okay, Gura. But just to let you know that the manager's job been up for grabs again. It's been advertised, but luckily you and I are both out of the race. So whoever who's going to be appointed, we wish him nothing but the very best. It's a thankless job. The little I know, no one appreciates whatever you do. But it's a interesting, challenging job. Whoever who gets it, all the very best. That's what I have to say.
It's a very tough job, Charith. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's one of the toughest jobs that people do. A lot of people don't understand that. But whoever takes it, it's difficult because you are working with the executive management team. You're working with the board president, the CEO, and sometimes the minister of sports as well.
True.
And you're like trying to be the cushion between the players and the rest of the world, pretty much. But that doesn't happen. People bypass. It's like the COVID virus made it bypasses anything and go to the players. So,
so you
it's
can
pretty much that. But I wish anyone who's taking it good luck, because it is a tough one. And I think, to me, the team manager role shouldn't be anymore a selector or anything. They should just give that, saying you're the team manager, these are your jobs. And to me, on tour, you don't need a selector to travel, because after you have selected the 15 or something, Charith, you just need to trust your coach and the captain and say, do it. Do the 11, what you do, and make them accountable. End of the day, it's performance, and make them accountable.
Totally agree with you. The management,
when you have a select on tour, when you have so many others trying to tell the players or the coaches what to do, I mean, decisions were made sometimes, Charith, by selectors staying in Colombo and selecting the team playing in New Zealand. How do you do that? You can't. People on ground knows better than anything else. And that's why my hats off to Graham Labroy and that team as selectors. Labby was, to me, the best chairman of selectors I worked with. Always gave the preference and say, you're on tour, Gura, you, Hatu, or before that, Nick Porters, you guys make the decision and we'll back it. Just keep us informed. Picking the 11. Just keep us informed and tell us the reasons why we will not interfere. We trust you and we back you. So that's what you need on tour. You don't need so many people telling you what to do. And I'm hoping with this role, they will do it, because the manager should be just the team manager, and that's it.
I totally agree with you. I had the similar kind of experience with Labby. I would rate him very high as chairman selectors. We were on tour to Zimbabwe with a very young team, and I was the main link between the team management and as being the manager, because we did not have a selector on tour. But must say that Labby backed us. That totally 100%. Labby backed us. He being the decision making, the group on the spot. He gave us his blessings and he never interfered. And thank you, Labby, for that. And I totally agree with your sentiment. He was one of the best. And before you go, Kumar, Kusal, as I'm sure that Kusal and Dulan, two great physios based in Mombasa, always have a very high regard for you, Gura. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of meeting and working with you both. Sports psych will be the fundamental drive for the next level in high performance. My current work as a sports physiotherapist has a huge element of mental wellness attached to it. We saw this clearly at the Australian Open this year. bring this expertise to places like Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka very seriously, and as a great honor. Wish he played little longer. Exactly, these Dulan and Kusal, they had been on my show. Great physios who have gone to the next level. Gura, I'm sure that you had the pleasure of meeting them at some point in your life.
No, Charlie, they're very good friends of mine. I mean, both of them have helped me a lot there in Australia,
Right,
and especially Kusal is still helping me in Nigeria as well, and unbelievable physios. And the sad part is, I think someone like Dulan should be working for Sri Lanka cricket with his experience. Kusal's got his own practice, and he was working at the Australian Open for one of the overseas tennis players as well. So you can't just get a position like that unless you're really good, Charith, with the overseas tennis player who are ranked in the top 50. So, I mean, someone like Dulan, with his so much experience in Cricket Australia, he should be with us. And I know recently he was recommended highly by Alex Contouris as well. Knowing Alex very well, Alex won't recommend someone unless he believes in someone. That is Alex Contouris.
Yep.
Just because he's your friend, he will not recommend you. And Alex recommended this guy so highly, and I don't think we have looked at him. To me, you need people like that who have, yes, they have studied overseas, they have so much work experience overseas. That's what you need. Dulan has worked with Cricket Australia, Cricket Victoria, with elite athletes, and you need someone with that experience working for us. But well, that's out of our control, Charith. Nothing to do with you and me.
Yeah, I was told that he was given only 5 minutes interview. That's how well he was treated by Sri Lanka cricket. Anyway, that's for the record. Moving on. Bipin Dani, all the way from India. Just a quick question for Asanka Gurusinghe. Would you come back to SLC? Given a chance, would you come back?
Look, Charles, I don't think anyone, and especially me, I will never say never. I will never say no, I'm not going anywhere. It depends on at that time, just like the decision we made to come to Nigeria. It's similar to that. We'll sit down and look at if there are opportunities. I think now I have better understanding how Sri Lanka cricket works now.
Yeah.
So that will help with my decision one day if I'm doing it. But I don't know. Because that's my home, that's my country. I would always like to do something, but it depends on where I am in my life at that time. If I am thinking of retiring, then which we are want to, Kushi and I want to actually retire after Nigerian stint, then I don't know. Because as I said, our children are Australia. They are living in Australia. So we are not going to just move away and say, okay, this is what's happening, unless there's something we really want to do. So you never know. You never know. Let's see.
Wherever the life takes you, mate. That's never say no. And if there's an opportunity, I don't see any reason why, if a opportunity is given, why you shouldn't come back and work. That's a big hi to Dirk Tisera, all the way from Canada. Thank you, mate. Yes, straight shooters. We try to be straight as much as possible whenever we can. And a big hi to everyone joining on YouTube as well. Raveen, I think he explained it wasn't the case that nothing worked with 4D. It was a misunderstanding, but they have buried the hatchet and they have moved on, and they remain close friends. And yeah, Bipin Dani says thank you very much for the answer. So I hope you got it. And Aruna Samarajiva and everybody else, thanks for being a part of the show. I've been talking to these gentlemen, my old mate, my teammate, great cricketer, for the last 1 hour 25 minutes. And Gura, it's a pleasure having you.
My battery will go now, so I might go off pretty soon.
Thank you very much, Gura, for your time and for your participation. And big hi to Kushi, and please give my regards to her as well. Enjoy your stint in Nairobi, whatever you do in life. All the very best. And until we meet again, you take care, mate. Thank you very much once more. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks, Charith, for getting me on. And I want to say hi to Jainath Sera, who was my classmate at Nalanda. I know he's on. So just to say hi to everyone who's there. And yeah, absolutely, Charith. Thanks for getting me on. And there are topics that people need to know in this world, what's going on. And there's a lot more than cricket that's happening. And I think what I want from all Sri Lankans and everyone around the world is to stay safe, just follow the proper guidelines, and stay safe, because you don't want Sri Lanka to be like India, what's going on now.
Absolutely. That's a position that we all like to, and we would love to avoid. And we all need to get back to our lives. Can't be confined to four walls day in day out. Hopefully, we'll come out of it quickly as possible. Gamini, good one, mate. Thank you very much, sir, for your participation. Yes, you are allowed to open your own private pub. That's all you can. That's very nice of him. And perhaps I will join you in a little while. And Ranil Pereira. So good to see you in Melbourne. See you again soon in Melbourne. Yep. And Janta Seram, yes, there he goes. They are still, most of these guys are still online. Oh my God, they're all, actually there are 45 of them still listening to us. Pelham, thank you very much, mate. Thanks for being there. And thanks to everyone. As Gura said, all we can do is do these little shows. I will continue to do the best I can to keep each and every one of you in a positive frame of mind. Gura, I think that's all we can do. Share whatever the experiences we had in life and share it with people, and some fun memories, and put them in the right frame of mind to get on with their lives and do whatever they do. And I know, like Gura, that I'm not a great believer in supernatural things, but that being sensible and doing the right thing, as Gura said, looking after yourself is the way to go. Gura, what do you think? What can people do?
Absolutely, it's time to be safe, and then hopefully the vaccinations will continue, and sometime next year we can slowly get back. I don't think the world will get back to normal for a few more years, but hopefully slowly we can start things. And especially, I would love this hospitality places to open, and say hi to Harpo and say thank you. Hopefully Park Street News will be up and running when we come back the next time.
There you go. That's all we could do is to live in hope. Chiron, good to have you on the show, mate. Hopefully that RMB top man, with Shane Fernando, with the boys, the RMB is watching us as well. Good luck to you, mate. Whatever you do in life. Aaron Edward, all the way from UAE. Gura, we got a worldwide audience, mate, from Canada to Australia to we are covering all over the world. Little surprise that we haven't Sanduna Kapukekina, all the way from UK.
Yes.
Sanduna was there.
In fact, actually, Sanduna and I talk to each other once a week or so.
Right, great stuff, mate. And Cletus, Bernard, Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer is still online. Thank you, girl. Thanks for being a part of the show. Actually, Jennifer was very keen. She was one of the first to respond when I informed that you're coming online. That she was waiting to see you. Thank you very much, Anjali. Good to have you on the show. Haven't seen your big sis, isn't it? I sent her an invite. Probably, she's too busy to talk to us. Don't know where she is. Anyway, big hi to Anjali as well, and everybody, Rehana and Lasit Abesekara. Thank you very much, both of you. Great show. Good to have you, mate. Great. Shamil Hamid. I think I will. Sanjeev. Thank you very much. Anybody else out there? Let me see. Just before Gura goes off, Arjuna Raja Karuna, Gerard Andre, Auntie She, all the way from Canada, Prasant Gamalat, mate, who's this? Ranendra Nath Swain, I think probably from India. Who else? Leo Francisco, how are you, Leo? Hope you're well. Tilina Rangana Sanjeeva Tilina Hassis, have you met Tilina? Gura, the time you were here, Tilina runs a paper which is it's a sports-oriented paper. He does a lot of work, and he has his own awards. And all the very best to you, Tilan, whatever you do in life. And good luck to you, Sanjay Alas, all the way from Italy. Sanjay Alas, top musician, mate. He just had an album out with a guy, a collaboration with a guy from Nisha Piris from South Africa. They got a great track out, and if you get a chance, check that track. It's just doing the rounds on social media. Sanjay Alas, all the best to you. Tishan Kumar, he was happy to see you, mate. Channa Jayasekar, Ingrid, good to have you on the show, Ingrid, as well. Hang on, Dinesh Mendis, great to have you, mate. Didn't see you. Dinesh is my neighbor, and top Tomian, great mate, good to have you. Achala Shaminda, I think I'll take a break because the list is getting longer by the minute, you know, so it goes on and on. Josh, all the way from Kenya. Oh, Jerky, Prianta Guerrero, legend. Another one of your Peterson Lane boys, Prianta Guerrero from Havelock, you know, Chamira Disanaika.
Oh, yeah.
Good old Guerrero, Edrich, Madhura, Lekamge, Priyanjan Dimel, all the way from Aussie, Samira, another top journalist, Talpe, Vijay Singh, Jesus, never ending. Kanchana Kodituaku, Mali De Silva, Sandun Gamage. My sister is watching as well. It might rain. Seriously, I think the first time my sister is watching you, big guy to her as well, Faisal Mejing, and the rest, you know. If I missed any of your names, sorry. And all I can say is on behalf of Mal De Silva, good to have you, Mal. You know, hope all's well with you. Hope your brother-in-law is watching the show. Ashley's sister-in-law, mate, you know. Ashley is missing in action. He's not on social media, I guess. Anyway, anybody else? Sanjay Vijay Singh, Prabhat Nisanka is still on the show. Umid Dunuvila, Aravindu Duawala. Jeez, HB from all the way from Bangladesh. Lincoln. Did we say hi to Lincoln? I think we did. You know, that's Lincoln is from UK. Thanks for being on the show, mate. And on behalf of everyone, and thanks for being part of the show for the last 1.5 years. Hopefully that we will continue to do that. Guru, I'm planning to bring in Sudat Pascal. You know, Sudat was very interested in coming on the show. And Sudat is based in Canada. He's a leading journalist as well. Hopefully, I will have Sudat on the show very soon. On that note, people take care of yourself. Thanks being a part of this show. Always a pleasure having you. And if I made any mistakes, I'm sorry about it. But I always, as usual, try to do the very best that I can with the limited resources I have. I'm trying to be like Superman, trying to do many things at the same time. You know, I'm operating 2 monitors, the cameras, the audios, the videos, and sometimes it's all too much. But it's all in good fun. You know, there's no regrets for what I do. And thanks to Harpo for being a part of the show. And yep, on that note, until we meet again, see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.